Chapter 307. Early the next morning, many people were shocked by the scene outside the Luo family's gate. Looking at the corpses that were hung up, the blood that dripped down almost dyed the square in front of the Luo family's gate red. The crowd of onlookers was frightened. What's going on? The Luo clan was attacked last night? I didn't hear anything. But these corpses were hung up early in the morning. Someone whispered. The group of people looked at the skewered corpses in horror. The Luo family was really amazing when they didn't make a move. He had just destroyed the Luo manor, and now he had killed so many people. However, didn't they say that the old man of the Luo family had already lost his cultivation? Why was the Luo clan still so arrogant? Sigh. The Luo family's toughness was easily broken. Since grandfather Luo's cultivation had dissipated, they should be keeping a low profile. These people were most likely there to investigate the situation. If Grandpa Luo was fine, he would have shown himself long ago. The current situation. Sigh. Yeah. Someone chimed in. Looks like something really happened to Elder Luo. However, the Luo clan was really stubborn. They were not willing to suffer any grievances. Although they have achieved the purpose of intimidating those people by killing them, the forces behind those people will definitely not be willing to let this matter rest. Before this person could finish speaking, in an instant, the sound of hurried horse hooves suddenly came from afar. Following this, a cold yell could be heard. Get out of the way, everyone get out of the way. A group of fully armored soldiers galloped over from the front. The two people at the very front caused the crowd to exclaim in surprise. It's the Imperial Guards. The one at the front is Old Master Chu. Everyone watched as the large group of people galloped and stopped at the entrance of the Luo clan. Looking at the bloody scene in the square, Old Master Chu, who came with the Imperial Guards, revealed a thought-provoking expression. Old Man Luo finally had a successor. Although the rest of his sons were useless, at least he had a granddaughter who could stand up to him. This method was ruthless enough. In contrast to Old Master Chu's calmness, the attendant who came with him was quite frightened by the scene before him. The people of the Luo clan were too cruel. Looking at the bloody corpses hanging all over the square, then looking at the few familiar faces, the personal attendant swallowed a mouthful of saliva. But soon, when he thought of the purpose of his visit and the current situation of the Luo clan, he straightened his chest and regained his composure. Men! Knock on the door. Tell the Luo clan that the king has an order. Let them open the door and receive the decree. Upon hearing the eunuch's words, Old Master Chu revealed a look of mockery. In the past, when the Luo clan was in its glory days, when did these attendants not speak softly and flatteringly when they came to deliver the decree? Now that the Luo clan had been defeated, they had become arrogant. Although this was human nature, Old Master Chu had always been upright. For the sake of his political views, he was able to become enemies with the powerful Old Master Luo. Naturally, he couldn't stand the way these people trampled on the weak. Even if this attitude was tacitly approved by the royal family, it would still be the same. Wait, go invite him in. He motioned to the guard beside him. Although Old Man Luo didn't get along with him, he had never done anything to let down the Eastern Fence Nation. The Luo clan shouldn't be treated this way because of a personal grudge with the royal family of Tianyu. Yes. The guard obeyed the order and went forward. Chapter 308. Please invite Old Master Chu and his entourage in for a chat. Our Luo family welcomes guests, but we don't welcome troublemakers. Luo Qingtong's clear voice sounded from within. As she spoke, a group of Luo family guards filed out and lined up in front of the Luo family's gates. His iron-blooded and majestic aura immediately suppressed the group of Imperial Guards opposite him. Old Master Chu, please come in. Our young miss has already prepared good tea and wine for your arrival. As for the rest. One of the Luo family guards swept his gaze over the Imperial Guards and the personal attendant beside Old Master Chu. He said flatly, "You're not allowed to enter." "How dare you?" the palace attendant shrieked in a shrill voice. "We're here to deliver the imperial edict. How dare you stop us from entering? Is the Luo family trying to rebel? Defying the imperial edict?" The imperial chamberlain held his head high and puffed out his chest as he looked at the Luo clan's iron guards. The Luo family was now a toothless tiger. Although they were tough now, they were grasshoppers after autumn and wouldn't be able to jump around for long. They were just trying to intimidate others with their ruthless methods so that they wouldn't dare to act rashly. But the more they acted like this, the more it proved that they were only strong on the outside but weak on the inside. Something must have happened to old Master Luo. Without this golden signboard, it would be more justifiable for the royal family to take back their military power. What was the use of Luo Qingtong's strength? In the end, her status as the future consort of the fifth prince was just a title. She was also the fifth prince's consort who wasn't favored by the royal family of Tianyu. It was already good enough that she could protect herself. Could it be that she wanted to protect the entire Luo family? With that thought in mind, the imperial chamberlain's expression became even more arrogant. "Men! Come in with me." He didn't believe that the Luo family would dare to stop him. However, just as he approached the gates of the Luo family, Luo Qingtong's cold voice sounded. "Throw them out." As he spoke, the Luo clan's iron guards made their move. Ah! The valet was instantly sent flying. He lay on the ground for a long time, unable to get up. The group of guards who had followed him to the Luo residence were also sent flying. In an instant, chaos broke out outside the gates of the Luo clan. Compared to the well-trained Luo family iron guards, the imperial guards brought by the personal attendant were like a ragtag army, unable to withstand a single blow. Ouch! The attendant howled as he shouted, "We're here to pass on a decree. Young Miss Luo, you actually dared to order them to attack us. Your Luo clan is rebelling. This is treason." "Humph. You were disrespectful to me, so I taught you a lesson. What does that have to do with the royal family?" Luo Qingtong's cold voice came from inside. "My grandfather has received special permission from the royal family and is equal to the king. How can you be so presumptuous in my Luo family? What's more, as the future wife of the fifth prince of the Tianyu Empire, the Luo family is the royal family by marriage. Or was it that the royal family was too ambitious? Did they think they were superior to the royal family of the Tianyu Empire?" Hearing Luo Qingtong's words, the personal attendant trembled and didn't dare to speak anymore. He only considered the fact that Luo Qingtong, the future wife of the fifth prince, was not favored. Old Master Luo had lost his cultivation, and the Luo family was on the decline. However, he forgot that the Luo family had another identity, which was the in-laws of the Tianyu royal family. He could deal with them in secret, but acting presumptuously in public was a slap to the face of the royal family of the Tianyu Empire. Luo Qingtong could deal with them in any way she wanted. Between the Dongli royal family and the Tianyu royal family, who was more important? With that thought in mind, the attendant almost fainted from fainting. Chapter 309. "Luo girl, didn't you say you wanted to invite me in for tea?" Old Master Chu's voice rang out. He had come with the guard, so he couldn't just stand by and watch a member of the royal family be humiliated. After all, this concerned the dignity of the royal family. It was fine if he wasn't there, but now that he was, if he ignored it, the Dongli royal family might vent their anger on him in the future. He couldn't help but feel sad when he thought of how old Master Luo had served the country all his life, only to end up being targeted by the Dongli royal family. Old Master Luo had done countless things for the country. Although he and Old Master Luo didn't have the same political views, they couldn't deny what the other party had done. The royal family's actions were truly chilling. If they treated the Luo family like this, what would they do to those who were inferior? The royal family was too heartless. Old Master Chu's heart turned cold. At this moment, Luo Qingtong's voice rang out. "Grandpa Chu, come in for a chat. All of these people, throw them out for me. If you want to pass the decree, come in with 3 kneels and 9 kowtows. If you continue to be impudent, the blood plaza outside the Luo family's gate will be your final resting place." The guard's face turned pale when he heard this, and he quickly kowtowed outside. He had come with a decree, and this decree was extremely important. If it wasn't passed on because of him, he would be killed when he returned. Around him were a group of imperial guards who were wailing in agony. The group of people came in aggressively. Other than Old Master Chu and a few others, the rest were all lying on the ground, dead or injured. The guard who had been extremely arrogant just a moment ago was kowtowing desperately at the side. The crowd sighed when they saw this. The eldest daughter of the Luo family is really powerful. Oh my God! I thought the Luo family would have no choice but to bow their heads. I didn't expect the eldest daughter of the Luo family to be so domineering. This is the true bearing of an aristocratic family. Regardless of whether it's good or bad, she maintains her arrogance. She won't be humiliated. That's right. Sigh. It's a pity that old Master Luo died too early. Otherwise, the Luo family wouldn't have fallen with the eldest daughter around. Sigh. I'm afraid the royal decree isn't a good thing. The eldest daughter of the Luo family is really too weak. Yeah. The group of people sighed. If Luo Qingtong's strength was a bit more tyrannical, then no one in the Luo clan would be able to shake her. They didn't know Luo Qingtong's true strength, otherwise, they would be extremely shocked. With Luo Qingtong in the Luo family, they would be as stable as Mount Tai. Grandpa Zhu. After welcoming Old Master Chu into the main hall of the Luo family, Luo Qingtong personally brewed tea and served it to him. Please have some tea. At this time, Luo Qingtong respected those who showed goodwill to the Luo family. Old Master Chu and Old Master Luo didn't have a good relationship in the past. But the more he acted like this, the more it showed that he had a noble character. After all, in this world, there would always be icing on the cake, but no timely help. Ah, old Luo has a great-granddaughter. In this aspect, I'm inferior to him. Old Master Chu could not help but sigh when he saw Luo Qingtong's graceful and natural movements. Her every action was neither servile nor overbearing. She was calm and composed. This old man Luo was really lucky. Grandpa Zhu, you're too kind. Luo Qingtong smiled when she heard that. Grandpa Zhu has a unique insight. You're straightforward and upright. The Chu family's foundation will definitely be smooth sailing in the future. These words were Luo Qingtong's reply to Old Master Chu's praise and also her promise to the Chu family in the future. Luo Qingtong remembered Old Master Chu's timely help. In the future, as long as the Luo family was around, the Chu family would not be in trouble. Chapter 310. Sai, you sure know how to talk. Unfortunately, I know the situation of the Chu clan. I don't know what will happen in the future. However, I'll accept your words. Lass, you're really blessed to be able to support the Luo clan in such a situation. Old man Chu didn't understand the meaning behind Luo Qingtong's words. He sighed. Unfortunately, you can't do it alone. Old man Chu was silent for a while. Then, he asked, did something really happen to your grandfather? This was the first time someone asked about old man Luo in front of Luo Qingtong. Luo Qingtong's expression didn't change. She narrowed her eyes and saw the worry in old man Chu's eyes. Then, she nodded, yes. There was nothing to hide. Luo Xinning had already spread the news. Most of the aristocratic families and the royal family must have received the news. They just needed to confirm it. Old man Luo hadn't shown up for a long time. They must have already confirmed it. However, they didn't know whether old man Luo's cultivation was a blessing or a curse. Once Luo Qingtong successfully nursed him back to health, old man Luo's talent would become so great that they would be jealous of him. His future in martial arts would be different. This was an opportunity that others couldn't get even if they begged for it. Sigh, I've been fighting with that old man for most of my life. I didn't expect him to meet with such a disaster at this time. Old man Chu sighed. Luo clan's girl, I know it's inappropriate for me to say this. I might even be gloating over your misfortune. However, I've been fighting with that old man for most of my life. Even if we don't get along, I don't want to see the Luo clan fall. You should know that the royal family of Tianyu wants to deal with you. They gave the order. All the aristocratic families and the royal family of Dongli Nation responded. If you swallow your anger, you might be able to protect the Luo clan. If you insist on going against them, the entire Luo clan will be uprooted. They want you to lose your support as revenge for old man Luo's stubborn refusal to accept the marriage. If you're willing to listen to my advice, then bear with it for the time being and let them vent their anger. The Luo clan may suffer humiliation, but it's better than nothing, don't you think? He sighed as he looked at Luo Qingtong and said, I know these words must make you feel uncomfortable. But the girl from the Luo clan, let's take a step back. Before old Master Chu could finish his sentence, Luo Qingtong's calm voice interrupted him. If you take a step back, others will press forward step by step and bully you to death. Grandpa Zhu, you don't have to say any more. I know you have good intentions, but my Luo family has never backed down in the face of oppression. Not when my grandfather was around. Now that I'm in charge of the Luo clan, it's even more impossible. She didn't know how to write the words forbearance in her entire life. Luo Qingtong had been arrogant all her life. No matter when she was in her prime or when she was weak, whoever wanted to deal with her had to be prepared to be ruthlessly torn off by her. Bowing to the royal family of Tianyu? So what if old man Luo risked his pride and stubbornness to go to Tianyu Empire to break off the marriage? If she bowed her head, what would happen to old man Luo's love and protection? Old man Luo went to Tianyu Empire to break off the marriage and was suppressed. Who was it for? It was all for her. If she bowed her head, she would tear old man Luo's face off and throw it on the ground. Luo Qingtong would never do such a thing. Not only would she not do it, but she would also tell the world that old man Luo's actions were not wrong. The Luo clan would never be defeated. Whoever dared to touch the Luo clan, she would make them suffer the consequences. Chapter 311. Miss Luo, please accept the edict. The eunuch trembled with fear. At this time, he didn't dare to show off in front of Luo Qingtong. Now, he finally understood that no matter how weak the Luo family was, and no matter how unfavored Luo Qingtong, the future wife of the fifth prince, was, as long as she had this title, everyone had to bow down respectfully in front of her. So what if the royal family of Tianyu didn't like her? Could they slap themselves in the face and tell the world that anyone could bully Luo Qingtong? That's absolutely impossible. Therefore, no matter how uncomfortable the royal family of Tianyu was, outsiders knew that they wanted to deal with Luo Qingtong, so they couldn't disrespect her in public. Luo Qingtong liked the feeling of disgust. The golden name of the royal family of Tianyu was so useful, of course she would use it more. As for the dirty tricks in private, if they weren't afraid of death, they could come at her. The eunuch respectfully handed over the edict. Luo Qingtong glanced at him indifferently and raised her hand to take it. You want the tiger tally? Luo Qingtong looked at the edict in her hand and laughed. The royal family of Dongli really dared to ask for it. First, they took away grandfather Luo's responsibility as the commander of the three armies, and now they wanted the tiger tally so that they could take over the military power of the three armies. They knew that it was impossible to kidnap grandfather Luo, so they wanted to use the royal family's name to pressure and take it by force. Old Master Luo's dispersal of his cultivation gave them an excuse to take full control of the military. However, the left, middle, and right armies of Dongli were famous for being the sharp sword of the country. They were built by grandfather Luo alone. He spent a lot of time and effort to build the army of Dongli into a strong army. Among the many small countries around, Dongli's national power might not be outstanding, but its military power was first class. Grandfather Luo's prestige alone was enough to make the surrounding countries not dare to invade them. Back then, the king of Dongli held grandfather Luo's hand and cried with gratitude. Now that old Master Luo was in trouble, the royal family jumped out to take advantage of the situation. Those words from back then had probably been eaten by dogs. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. When the eunuch heard this, he didn't even dare to raise his head. He could only shrink his neck and brace himself to say, the right to command the three armies should belong to the royal family. In the past, the king loved Marquis Zhen, so he naturally entrusted him with the country's weapons, but now that my grandfather's cultivation has dissipated, he can no longer be entrusted with important tasks. The royal family has no choice but to take back their military power. Is that what you mean? Luo Qingtong's voice was faint, but it inexplicably sent chills down people's spines. All in all this is not because the royal family covets the commander-in-chief of the three armies and can't wait to reap the benefits. Blinded by greed, they are forced to do so. Is that what you mean? Eldest miss, the attendant lowered his head deeply. Luo Qingtong's words were too blunt. She was so straightforward that she almost pointed at the royal family's nose and scolded them for being shameless. How could he dare to answer? Even if this was the truth, he wouldn't dare to say it out loud like the eldest miss of the Luo family. The royal family still cared about their reputation. Otherwise, why would they find a bunch of reasons to openly ask old Master Luo to hand over the commander-in-chief of the three armies? The continuous reprimanding from before was because of this matter. But before the royal family could find an excuse, something happened to old Master Luo. This saved them the trouble of finding other excuses. But these words couldn't be said out loud. Not only could they not say it, but they also had to do their best to cover it up and push the blame to old Master Luo and the Luo family. It would prove that old Master Luo was no longer qualified to command the three armies and they had no choice but to take over. Ha! Luo Qingtong chuckled. Grandpa Zhu, look, this is the result of my grandfather's loyalty to the country. As she spoke, she threw the decree in front of the attendant. Let's go. Take me to the three armies' martial arts arena, I will give you the tiger tally. Luo Qingtong's smile was evil. You want the tiger tally? She will give it to you. Chapter 312. Ugh. Old Master Chu and the palace servant both thought that Luo Qingtong wouldn't accept the edict. After all, her attitude was so obvious and she despised the royal family of Dongli. He was even prepared to be kicked out of the room. However, after Luo Qingtong threw the edict at him, she suddenly said such words. The palace servant looked at Luo Qingtong dumbfoundedly and couldn't react for a long time. Even when Luo Qingtong stood up and walked in front of him, he still knelt there stupidly and maintained his posture of kowtowing in fear. Obviously, he was ready to kowtow and beg for mercy. Go. Luo Qingtong's voice was indifferent. Her lotus-like skirt fluttered in the air as she took a step forward, sweeping past the imperial chamberlain. Yes. That palace attendant's face was filled with trepidation. He didn't know what Luo Qingtong meant. After the previous lesson, he didn't think that Luo Qingtong was going to compromise. He felt that Luo Qingtong's words had a deeper meaning. However, the Luo clan was declining and old Master Luo had lost his cultivation. Luo Qingtong only had the title of the future wife of Tianyu's fifth prince, but she didn't have enough cultivation to support the Luo clan. No matter how he looked at it, she couldn't stop the royal family from taking back the tiger tally. After all, the royal family had a righteous reason. Old Master Luo's accident gave them a justifiable reason to take back the tiger tally. If Luo Qingtong didn't agree, it was fine. However, the royal family of Dongli could use the name of selfishness to accuse the Luo clan of not thinking about the country. At that time, Old Master Luo, who had lost his cultivation, would be forced to hand over the tiger tally. Otherwise, the royal family of Dongli would use force to take the tiger tally after a round of reprimanding. Either way, the Luo clan's reputation as a century-old family would be ruined. Thinking of this, that palace attendant felt that Luo Qingtong had probably seen through this and had no choice but to compromise. Yes. It must be like this. As the attendant thought about it, he subconsciously puffed out his chest. But at this moment, Luo Qingtong glanced at him. Although he knew that she couldn't see, he still felt an inexplicable chill in his heart. The arrogance that just rose up suddenly withered. No matter how Luo Qingtong compromised, with her identity as the future wife of the fifth prince, she could still beat him. With that thought in mind, the palace attendant instantly quieted down. When Luo Qingtong left, he trotted and followed behind her with a flattering expression. He was afraid that Luo Qingtong would kill him out of annoyance. After all, Luo Qingtong was unscrupulous. Now that the decree had been passed down, if he was really killed, then his death would have been in vain. Could they really expect the royal family of Dongli to find trouble with Luo Qingtong because of this? Thinking of this, the personal attendant instantly became well-behaved, not daring to cause any trouble, nor did he dare to show off in the slightest. Therefore, when Luo Qingtong went out, everyone saw a strange scene. The eunuch, who had been arrogant when he came to pass the edict, now followed Luo Qingtong like a pug. His careful attitude stunned many people. Didn't they say that the Luo clan was declining? The eldest daughter of the Luo clan wasn't liked by the royal family of Tianyu. Why was this palace servant so respectful to her? Could it be that the rumors were wrong? Or was the eldest daughter of the Luo clan really good at tricks? After all, they had seen the chamberlain kowtowing outside, but his expression was one of unwillingness. The group of people watched Luo Qingtong and the others leave. Chapter 313. It's the three-army practice field. What are Luo Qingtong and the others doing there? Grandfather Luo isn't here. Wait. When the eunuch was being beaten, he kept yelling that they were here to deliver a decree. Is this decree related to the three-army practice field? Damn! Is the royal family going to take back the three-army practice field? Isn't this too shameless? Someone couldn't help but yell. Yes, the three-army practice field is the result of Grandfather Luo's hard work. He built it all by himself. God knows how much resources he spent on it. Now that Grandfather Luo is in trouble, the royal family wants to take back the three-army practice field. Isn't this too much? Yes. Everyone in Dongli country knows that Grandfather Luo did everything for the three-army practice field. Because of this, the Luo family still doesn't have their own private army. Most of the Luo family's resources were given to the three-army practice field by Grandfather Luo. Grandfather Luo contributed a lot to the current number 1 army practice field. It's too disappointing for the royal family to do this. Yes. Look at the big countries around us. The only first-class aristocratic family that doesn't have a private army is the Luo family. They are the in-laws of the Tianyu royal family. Their status is much higher than those first-class aristocratic families in the other low-level countries. But they don't have a private army. This is almost inconceivable. Sigh. Grandfather Luo's accident is the most turbulent time for the Luo family. It's fine if the royal family doesn't comfort and protect them, but they can't wait to take over the three-army practice field. It's really shameless. Everyone couldn't help but sigh. If the Luo family had been bullying the common people and doing whatever they wanted with the three-army practice field, perhaps these people would applaud the royal family for taking back the three-army practice field. But the Luo family has always been conscientious. Grandfather Luo has been loyal and upright all his life. Even if he was engaged to the Tianyu royal family, he never showed off his status as the in-laws of the Tianyu royal family and never looked down on anyone. In Dongli country, from the common people to the Dongli royal family, almost all of them were indebted to Grandfather Luo. This was especially true for the royal family. The establishment of the three armies was entirely done by Old Master Luo himself. He had poured all his heart and soul into this weapon of the nation. Grandfather Luo's loyalty was exemplary. He never looked down on Dongli because of his marriage with Tianyu's royal family. He was loyal to the country and took root here. He wasn't arrogant or domineering at all, and he didn't let down the Eastern Fence royal family at all. He had always been respectful. Now that something had happened to the Luo clan, it ended up like this. Everyone couldn't help but sigh for the Luo clan. Sigh, I was just saying that the Luo clan was in trouble, but I didn't expect it to come so quickly. The royal family's action of kicking a man when he was down was too fast. The Luo clan is really pitiful. That's right. Especially Miss Luo, the future wife of Tianyu's fifth prince, the legitimate daughter of the Luo clan. How could she be bullied like this? The imperial family of Tianyu was too hateful. Our royal family is really too disappointing. Just because of a few words from Tianyu's royal family, they treated the Luo clan like this. Someone could not help but say angrily. That was the pillar of the Eastern Fence country. His Majesty was too short-sighted. However, those who knew the inside story knew that it wasn't the king who was short-sighted. He had been eyeing the Luo clan's military power for a long time. But because the Luo clan was backed by Tianyu's royal family, he didn't dare to be presumptuous. Now that the Luo clan had offended Tianyu's royal family by breaking off the engagement, he naturally couldn't wait to get his hands on them. From this, one could see how heartless he was. Chapter 314. At the same time, in the training field of the three armies. It was another day of training for the three armies. That was the rule set by Master Luo. Regardless of whether there was a war or not, the three armies had to gather on time and train in the training field to maintain their combat effectiveness. The spacious training field occupied thousands of square meters. At this moment, it was filled with people. Chenglu Wangye stood in high spirits at the place where Luo Leoa usually watched the military drill. Looking down at the scene below, he felt an indescribable sense of pride. Do you see that? The armies down there will soon belong to the royal family. After decades, the power of the royal family has fallen. Today, we can finally regain our power. He knew that King Dongli had sent someone to the Luo family to ask for the three armies' tiger tally. Master Luo had not appeared recently because of his illness. He had been patrolling the camp on behalf of Master Luo. However, in reality, Lord Cheng was only in charge of the defense of the royal family. He was not involved in the three armies at all. With his strength and military talent, he was not qualified to replace Master Luo as the head of the three armies. However, after old Master Luo stayed at home, the royal family of Dongli took control of the three military camps in the name of the country's most important treasure, which could not be easily entrusted to others. They also squeezed out the deputy commander arranged by old Master Luo. They said that the deputy general was not qualified to lead the three armies. When Master Luo was not around, the royal family took over. Even a pig could see their ambition. However, without Master Luo, the three armies had no backbone and did not know what to do. Especially in the past few days, the news of Master Luo's martial arts dissipation was spread by Luo Xinning, which shocked the three armies. The royal family went from bad to worse. They dismissed the deputy commanders and generals that old Master Luo had arranged for them and replaced them with their own people. At this moment, the three armies had become the sole authority of the royal family. Loyalty and patriotism was the creed that Master Luo instilled in the three armies. Therefore, even if they saw through the royal family's actions and felt indignant, they could only endure it in silence. Without Master Luo, they had no leader. The royal family had a legitimate reason to control the three armies. They could not resist at all. Yes. When we get the three armies' tiger tally, we will congratulate Lord Cheng for becoming the new commander of the three armies. The Luo family has become a thing of the past. Yes, Master Luo has dissipated his martial arts. The Luo family has no successor. The command of the three armies must be in the hands of the royal family. Let us first congratulate 6th Prince Cheng on his grand plan. A group of people crowded around 6th Prince Cheng, flattering him with flattering expressions. Who didn't know that the Luo clan's power was already gone? Old Master Luo's cultivation had dissipated, and he had lost control of the three armies. Everyone's flattery made Cheng Lu Wangye feel very comfortable. The man's words made the 6th king's face darken. "Heh, you don't want to hand it over?" he sneered. "Now, the Luo clan has no choice. Look at yourself in the mirror." Da. Chapter 3:15. Rumble. The sound of horse hooves on the ground was really deafening and extremely arrogant. The ground was faintly trembling. "How dare you? Who is so presumptuous?" Cheng Lu Wangye was still on the high platform watching the three armies drill. Suddenly hearing the sound of horse hooves, he was instantly furious. The place where the three armies were located was an important military area. All the unrelated people were not allowed to come within 300 meters of the barracks. 500 meters away, they had to dismount. This had always been the rule, even the Dongli king had to abide by it. Today's arrogant horse hooves completely broke this rule, and also broke the silence of the martial arts field. Rumble. Everyone turned their head to look in the direction of the sound of horse hooves. A majestic and tall date red horse first appeared in their sight, followed by a flame-like gorgeous color. That dazzling red was as red as the morning glow above the horizon, as red as the fire lotus that bloomed for eternity, and as beautiful as the clouds of fire floating in the sky. The brilliance of this color, its beauty, and its ability to move one's heart was truly indescribable. Everyone could only see an unparalleled jade-colored face, which was revealed on top of the flame-like beauty. It was like a floating flower that bloomed like a pistil in a wave. Luo Qingtong. Looking at the face that was more dazzling than before, Cheng Lu Wangye's face instantly became gloomy. This woman, what did she come here for? Did she want to use her identity as the future wife of the 5th Prince of Tianyu to suppress him? Humph. Unfortunately, the military power of the three armies was related to the righteousness of the country. Her identity as the future wife of the 5th prince was useless. If Luo Qingtong forcibly stopped him from taking back the military power, it would be unreasonable. He could forcibly take back the military power. He could also destroy the Luo family's 100 years of reputation. Thinking of this, Cheng Lu Wangye sneered. He stood up, walked to the railing of the stand, and coldly shouted at the almost stunned soldiers at the entrance of the barracks, "What are you doing? This is the barracks, stop their horses for me." This Luo Qingtong was really looking for humiliation. She dared to ride a horse to the martial arts field. He would teach her a good lesson for the royal family and himself. Cheng Lu Wangye thought so, his tone was ruthless. After his shout, the soldiers at the entrance of the barracks quickly reacted and subconsciously set up tripwires to trip the horses. At the same time, they also pulled out their weapons and went forward. "Stop!" they were shouting. At the front, the imperial guards and the attendant were drenched in cold sweat. "This is breaking into the barracks. Miss, this. Should we dismount first?" the attendant asked Luo Qingtong in a trembling voice. The latter ignored him and continued to look ahead with a cold smile. In the next second, she pulled the reins. Just as the attendant thought that she was going to stop the horse and dismount, the date-red horse under Luo Qingtong suddenly leaped into the air. All Luo clan's iron guards, charge! Boom! Under the command of Luo Qingtong, all the guards who followed Luo Qingtong tightened their reins and directly jumped over the heads of the soldiers who came to stop them. They crashed into the barracks gate and went straight in. Luo Qingtong, how dare you! Chapter 316. I'm here to deliver the tiger tally on behalf of the royal family. What's there to be presumptuous about? Luo Qingtong leads a group of Luo family's guards straight through the gate of the barracks. They directly pass through the soldiers of the three armies and stop in the middle of the square. The group of people and horses, like Moses parting the sea, forced the soldiers of the three armies to stand in line. The well-trained soldiers are forced by Luo Qingtong's biting cold momentum and involuntarily scatter to the sides, allowing her and the guards to pass through. Luo Qingtong, how dare you quibble? Who allowed you to trespass in the barracks? Prince Cheng shouts angrily, even if you are the future fifth prince's wife of the Tianyu royal family, you can't ignore the military rules of our Dongli country. Guards, his words had just reached this point when he suddenly stopped abruptly. Below, Luo Qingtong holds a tiger roar talisman and raises it high. I said, I'm here to deliver the tiger tally to the royal family. Luo Qingtong's voice is faint, but I think that just giving the tiger tally to the royal family is not enough to show the sincerity of our Luo family. So, I'm here to deliver it myself. Prince Cheng, the holder of the tiger tally, can enter the barracks at will without any restrictions, so as not to delay the military plans. Is that right? That's right. Prince Cheng looks greedily at the tiger tally in Luo Qingtong's hand. It takes a while for him to react to what Luo Qingtong said. He nods with a gloomy face. Then there's no problem. Luo Qingtong plays with the tiger tally in her hand. She twirls it in her palm and plays with it. Her words are full of carelessness. In that case, I'm not breaking the military rules, right? Yes. Prince Cheng's face is gloomy again. But since the tiger tally has been delivered, you can give it to me. As he spoke, he raised his hand and was about to suck the tiger tally into his hand. Wait. Luo Qingtong raises her hand to take back the tiger tally, making him grab the tiger tally in vain. Sixth Prince Cheng, you are too impatient. Since I've brought the tiger tally here, I'm not going to take it back. Back then, my grandfather collected this tiger tally for the sake of the Eastern Fence country. He gathered the three armies under the wings of our Luo family. Luo Qingtong's smile was wanton and cold. If not for the burden of the three armies, my Luo clan's private army would be much stronger. If the royal family wants to take it back, I'm more than happy to oblige. However, even though the Luo clan doesn't want this tiger talisman, the Luo clan doesn't care about it. However, there are some things that I would like to clarify. As she spoke, her empty black eyes swept across all the soldiers present. As you can see now, my Luo clan is in trouble. Grandfather's cultivation is scattered, and he's in a precarious position. I will immediately return the authority of the three armies to the Eastern Fence royal family. From now on, you have nothing to do with the Luo clan. My grandfather is no longer your commander. But at this moment, I want to ask, if you have a choice now, how many of you are willing to stand behind the Luo clan and overcome this difficulty with us? Luo Qingtong sits on the red horse and quietly looks at the soldiers on the martial arts field. These people are indebted to her Luo clan and were trained by her grandfather. It can be said that without grandfather Luo, the three armies would not have the momentum they have today. Luo Qingtong wanted to see how many people would remember her kindness back then and be willing to use their lives to repay the Luo family in this precarious situation where the Luo family was in trouble. Chapter 317. Oh. Silly girl, you're really naive. Hearing Luo Qingtong's question, Chungliu's gloomy face instantly turned into mockery. She doesn't know what her Luo family is like now. Anyone with the slightest bit of intelligence would not choose to board that lousy ship of theirs. Now, she actually asked the soldiers of the 3 armies if they were willing to follow her around. Isn't this the biggest joke in the world? In the camp of the 3 armies, they have the best resources. These people have been trained by Luo Laoi. Would they give up such a good environment in the camp of the 3 armies for a cripple? Luo Qingtong asking these words is simply asking for humiliation. In the square, there's a silence. Everyone, after Luo Qingtong's words, is silent in an instant. This silence is enough to embarrass anyone, but Luo Qingtong doesn't care at all. She faintly said, "No one?" In that case. She was about to give the order, but at this moment, a general standing not far from them suddenly gritted his teeth and took a step forward. This general, Dong Yu, is willing to follow the general. With that, he tore off the totem coat of arms on his body that symbolizes the identity of the 3 armies. The general's kindness to me is as heavy as a mountain. This subordinate is willing to follow the general back to the Luo family and overcome the difficulties together. This general is also willing. This general is also willing. I am willing. I am also willing. I am also willing. That. Won't you think my strength is too low? After Dong Yu took the lead, one by one, the generals and soldiers stood up. Unexpectedly, those soldiers turned out to be the most numerous. On the contrary, those generals, except for Dong Yu, almost half of them didn't move. These people, cultivated by Luo Laoi, obtained today's strength and achievements, but when the Luo family was in danger, they were not willing to stand up. Luo Qingtong looked at all of this indifferently. As more and more people stood up, the bloody light in her eyes flashed slightly. Before Luo Qingtong came, she was already prepared that no one would stand up today. Because no matter how you look at it, staying in the camp of the 3 armies is better than going to the Luo family. But she didn't expect that so many people would stand up. Although these people, not even 1/3 of the people in the camp of the 3 armies. But these people, they gave up everything to follow the Luo family. Grandfather's efforts in the past were not in vain. In this world, there are not only ungrateful people. Don't know why, looking at the scene in front of her, Luo Qingtong suddenly wavered a little. In her opinion, human nature is selfish. As long as their own interests, people will not hesitate to betray and give up. What kinship, friendship, love, are all bullshit. But now, these people who stood? Luo Qingtong's Luo perhaps, in her previous life, it was because her luck was too bad that she met people with bad characters. Should she try to believe in human nature? These thoughts flashed through Luo Qingtong's mind in an instant and she quickly suppressed them. Very good. You won't regret today's decision. Now, everyone who stands up, come to my side. As for the rest. Luo Qingtong's lips curved into a cold smile. Chapter 318. Strip them. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. Strip them of everything they have. What? The soldiers in the square were shocked. Those who had decided to stand behind Luo Qingtong and the Luo family were confused. They looked at Luo Qingtong and then at their former comrades who were stunned. They didn't know what had happened. Did they mishear Miss Luo's order? Miss? Even the Luo family's guards who came with Luo Qingtong were shocked. They didn't expect Luo Qingtong to give such an order. The guards and the chamberlain who were left behind by Luo Qingtong and the others almost fell off their horses when they heard Luo Qingtong's order. Did they hear wrongly? What did Miss Luo say? Strip them of what? I said, strip them naked. Luo Qingtong waved the horsewhip in her hand. She sat upright on the date-red horse. Her aura was high-spirited, sharp and unstoppable. The young girl who had just shown weakness and said that the Luo clan was in trouble seemed to have changed into a different person. The aura around her was extremely sharp and cold. Everyone knows that the Eastern Fence Army was established by the Luo family. The Luo family doesn't have a private army. We treat the army as our sons and nephews. My grandfather has spent a lot of effort in the three armies. Whenever he got a new spiritual weapon, my grandfather used it to test it. As an inferior country, the Eastern Fence Army didn't have many resources. It was the weakest among all the small countries. It's my grandfather. The Marquis. Shamelessly, he asked the royal family of Tianyu for the best armor and equipment. Excellent weapons, high-quality armor, and exquisite food. You ate what the Luo family's disciples ate. What kind of resources my Luo clan's disciples enjoy, the outstanding members of your three armies will also enjoy. Your strength, your armor, your weapons, your medicine, all of them came from the Luo clan. Now, the three-army tiger tally must be returned to the Eastern Fence royal family. Naturally, all the gifts given by the Luo clan will be taken back. At this point, Luo Qingtong raised her delicate jade-like face. In the dazzling radiance, the layer of jade on her face seemed to be sprinkled with a layer of warm light. Under the scorching sunlight, it was indescribably dazzling. Since you no longer have anything to do with my Luo clan, then you have no right to use our Luo clan's things. In the future, the Eastern Fence Army will naturally be worshipped by the royal family. Now, strip. Hearing Luo Qingtong's order, all the iron guards of the Luo family and those who had sided with the Luo family immediately rushed towards the three armies in the square. My apologies, fellow comrades, I've offended you. The eldest young miss is right. In the past, the commander-in-chief led us. Naturally, all of our food and clothing were taken care of by the Luo family. Now, the commander-in-chief had changed. You should return everything you have on you. Dong Yu and the others looked cynical, but their hearts were indescribably refreshed. Just a moment ago, they were still feeling stifled over what had happened to Grandfather Luo and the Luo family. They stood up because they couldn't bear to see the Luo family suffer such humiliation and no one to help them. But they didn't expect Luo Qingtong to be so reckless and bold. This method was simply too much for them to handle. Chapter 319. The royal family wanted to take back the military power of the three armies? Good. Just leave them an empty shelf. Without the excellent weapons provided by the Luo family, without the good resources from the Tianyu Empire. What was the difference between the so-called three armies and the private armies of the aristocratic families? Until now, everyone knew why Luo Qingtong handed over the tiger tally so easily. It turned out that from the beginning, she had been prepared to make the Dongli royal family suffer. The other side wanted to take the army that was built by the Luo family. For this reason, they didn't care about their reputation. Once Luo Laoi was in trouble, they became aggressive. Everyone knew Sima Zhao's intention. But Luo Qingtong directly took drastic measures to deal with them. You want the tiger tally? She will give it to you. But she wanted to peel off a layer of skin from the entire three armies. Those ungrateful people who simply forgot the kindness of the Luo family and stood on the Dongli royal family's side at this time, she didn't want any of them. She only wanted to see if they had a chance to stand in this world after losing everything given by the Luo family. Luo Qingtong sneered. Luo Qingtong. How dare you? Watching the Luo family's iron guards approaching the three armies, Prince Chenglu, who was sitting on the spectator stand, couldn't hold it anymore. The blue veins on his forehead jumped, and he stood up. He never thought that Luo Qingtong would do this. Originally, he thought the tiger tally would be easy to get, and the three armies would be under his control. Luo Qingtong would never disobey the royal family's order to take back the tiger tally. But now, Luo Qingtong didn't disobey the royal family's order, and she did want to hand over the tiger tally. But, she wanted to take away the entire 3 armies. She didn't even let go of the things on the soldiers. Without these, would the 3 armies still be the 3 armies? Would they still be the strongest army in Dongli? He was afraid that they were not even as good as the imperial guards trained by themselves. Thinking of this, Prince Qinglu suddenly felt that something was wrong. Luo Qingtong's move was too ruthless. Without all kinds of equipment, weapons, and resources, even if they took over the 3 armies, they would only be a pile of junk. A bunch of burdens. Thinking of this, Prince Cheng became anxious. Why wouldn't I dare? Luo Qingtong sat upright on the jujube red horse. She raised her eyebrows and looked at him with a wicked expression. His eyes were empty and black, and the smile on his lips was indescribably cold and mocking. I'm taking back my Luo clan's things. Dare I ask the 6th prince, what's wrong with that? Does your highness think that the Luo family will still have to serve the 3 armies like a cow or horse after the royal family has taken back the tiger tally? What's more, the responsibility of providing for the 3 armies should be borne by the national treasury. The Luo family has been loyal and righteous for so many years. Now, it's time to take them back. Luo Qingtong's words instantly made Prince Cheng speechless. He couldn't find any words to refute him. Luo Qingtong's words were reasonable. Even if she spoke to the ends of the earth, no one would be able to find any fault with her. The Eastern Fence royal family wanted the tiger tally, and she gave it to them. But Luo clan's things, she wanted to take them back. After all, Luo clan didn't have the responsibility to provide for the 3 armies. No aristocratic family would use their own pockets to support the 3 armies for the country and the royal family. But, things shouldn't be like this. Prince Chunglio's heart was in disbelief. How did things become like this? Shouldn't the Luo clan obediently swallow their anger, and then hand over the tiger tally with both hands, allowing the royal family to sit on the 3 armies and become the absolute ruler of Dongli? Luo clan was weak, shouldn't they be obedient and let him and others control them? Chapter 320. 6th Prince Cheng could not figure it out. Just as his expression turned ugly, the Luo family's iron guards and the soldiers of the 3 armies who had chosen to follow the Luo family approached the people who sided with the Dongli royal family. Don't come any closer. Finally, one of the generals could not stand it anymore and made a gesture of resistance. I don't care if these things belong to the Luo family or not. Now that they've given them to us, they're ours. You can't take them back. That's right. What right do you have to take back what you've given us? That's impossible. That's right. Brothers, we can't let the Luo family take advantage of us like this. These people had completely forgotten their sense of shame for the sake of their own interests. After saying such shameless words, they wanted to attack the Luo family's iron guards and the people who followed the Luo family. Who cared about the Luo family and the generals? Their own interests were the most important thing. Which one of their armors and weapons wasn't of the best quality? They would be able to suppress the other armies if they went out. Without these things, what was the difference between them and the people outside? The soldiers of the 3 armies who stayed knew very well that without these things from the Luo family, the Dongli royal family would not value them anymore. They might even treat them as trash and a burden. Moreover, they themselves couldn't bear to fall from their lofty and highly sought-after status. The reason why they betrayed the Luo family and chose to follow the royal family was that they did not want to give up the good environment and treatment in the 3 armies. They could not afford to lose the things they had on them. Not only that, the Luo family should not even think about taking away the resources in the 3 armies' barracks. With that thought in mind, these people revealed a ferocious look and prepared to attack. However, as soon as they raised their auras, they instantly dissipated. Their bodies went limp and they could not exert any strength at all. This. They were shocked. Before they could react, they had fallen to the ground. No matter how hard they struggled, they could not get up. What was even more frightening was that they could feel the auras in their bodies disappearing bit by bit. The disappearance was not obvious, but the feeling of it flowing away bit by bit was very torturous. They could feel their strength disappearing anytime, anywhere, but they could not do anything about it. What? What's going on? My strength. Ah! Someone cried out in disbelief. They lay on the ground, their faces were filled with disbelief. How could their strength? Luo Qingtong looked at this scene coldly with a bloody light in her eyes. Did these people think that she would come to the three armies' barracks without any preparation? Not only were they ungrateful, they even had the audacity to attack the Luo family's people. They were waiting for their strength to dissipate bit by bit, and they would be completely crippled. The process would be very slow, giving them enough time to regret everything they had done. Three armies as armies? Ha! Luo Qingtong sneered faintly. How could these ungrateful people be qualified to say that they were strong? These people to them, without the support Luo family? She was not too dirty to them, she was not too dirty to kill, I have to be to stop. To them all is to them, Luo halves. Ludos, are to her to stay were not twos have hats. Are to have to die. Chapter 321. Luo Jia's Iron Guard and others are very fast. After a while, on the wide martial arts arena, a large number of armors, weapons, and elixirs were taken from the soldiers of the three armies and piled up like a mountain. Chenglu Wangye looks at all this with a purplish-red face, the blue veins on his forehead are throbbing. However, he has no reason to stop Luo Qingtong's actions. The latter did not say that she will not give him the tiger tally, she just wants to take back what belongs to Luo Jia. Can he still shamelessly say that the things that Luo Jia prepared for the three armies are their things? Luo Qingtong has no right to take it back. Absolutely not. Therefore, he can only blush and angrily look at the actions of the Luo Jia's Iron Guard and those who stood in line to follow Luo Jia. His heart is so stifled that he can't stop it. Luo Qingtong. Chenglu Wangye's eyes are blood red. Today, the royal family was slapped in the face by Luo Qingtong. They covet the control of the three armies, but Luo Qingtong pulled the carpet from under their cauldron. What they got was completely an empty frame and junk. If this matter is spread out, it's enough to make the nearby small countries and the various aristocratic families laugh for a year. This matter can't be let go. Luo Qingtong really didn't know how to appreciate favors. Relying on the identity of the future fifth prince's wife, she insists on carrying the Luo Jia's lintel. Does she really think that we can't do anything to her? Without that identity, what is she? Chenglu Wangye gnashes his teeth fiercely, but Luo Qingtong is unspeakably calm. She let the Luo Jia's Iron Guard take all these things back to Luo Jia, including the entire warehouse of the three armies. Everything inside will be taken away. Except for dust, the Eastern Fence royal family will not get anything. Therefore, those curious people, who are waiting to watch the show outside the three armies, saw the Luo Jia's people drive the cars into the three armies' barracks and then return with a full load. A group of people is completely stunned, they don't know what's going on. Why does it feel like the three armies' barracks has become a vegetable market? And what is the Luo Jia pulling from inside? Could it be that the royal family was compensating them? But wasn't this too much? The crowd looked at the cars coming and going in and out of the place with puzzled expressions. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have thought that Luo Qingtong would wipe out the entire military barracks. Who would have thought of such an arrogant and crazy thing? However, Luo Qingtong had done just that. Luo Qingtong, you will regret what you did today. Chenglu Wangye stood on the viewing platform and looked towards Luo Qingtong's direction with gritted teeth. Looking at the high-quality weapons and armors, as well as the various resources being transported away, he felt as if his heart was being ripped apart, throbbing with pain. However, without a valid reason, he could not touch Luo Qingtong. This made him even angrier. The hand that was holding the railing suddenly exerted force, and the jade railing was crushed into pieces. Ha! Luo Qingtong chuckled softly. Is that so? Then I'll wait for you to make me regret. I'm afraid you don't have the strength. Luo Qingtong did not put the Eastern Fence royal family in her eyes. She didn't touch them because she didn't want to expose her strength. If they insist on courting death, Luo Qingtong doesn't mind sending their whole family on a journey. Anyway, it's not that difficult to change the royal family of Eastern Fence country. Qinglu Wangye did not know Luo Qingtong's thoughts, otherwise he would have been scared out of his wits. Chapter 322. You. He looked angry and wanted to say something more. On the other side, Luo Qingtong, who was watching the last car of the Luo family leave, suddenly raised her hand. Give me the tiger-shaped tally. 6th Prince Cheng, I wish you, the newly appointed commander of the 3 armies, a speedy and successful appointment. You'll have a bright future ahead of you. And you, it's better to follow the royal family than follow the Luo family, who will be defeated at any time. I wish all of you a bright and boundless future. As Luo Qingtong spoke, she looked at the soldiers of the 3 armies who were lying on the ground with only their underwear left. In the past, those high-spirited and vigorous soldiers were the strongest in the 3 armies, but now they were in a mess. Luo Qingtong's words were like a slap to their faces. These people chose to abandon the Luo family and the cultivation of Master Luo for their own glory and wealth. They even wanted to fight with the Luo family's guards. Now they were dispersing their cultivation. Without the support of the Luo family's resources, even if the royal family found them weapons, armor, and other resources, how could they compare with the excellent ones Master Luo brought from the Tianyu Empire? What's more, the royal family had its own imperial guards. How could they treat the soldiers of the 3 armies equally? It was more likely that because of Luo Qingtong's actions this time, they would vent their anger on them. At that time, they would know how difficult life would be. All of this was the price they had to pay for betraying the Luo family. Luo Qingtong didn't kill them, but she made them suffer. These people, for their future glory and wealth, betrayed the Luo family, but now they had nothing. And those who didn't forget the kindness and were willing to follow the Luo family in the wind and rain, had everything. It was obvious who would use the things Luo Qingtong dragged away from the barracks of the 3 armies in the end. Thinking of this, these people were full of unspeakable regret. That feeling of remorse was like ants gnawing at their hearts, ruthlessly gnawing at their hearts. They had a chance, but they gave it up. Now they could only fall from the top of the clouds to the bottom of the valley, looking up at the people they had disdained and laughed at before. Not only that, Luo Qingtong's next words pushed their regret to the top. By the way, I forgot to tell you that the Luo family has been loyal for generations. My grandfather has been a soldier all his life, for the country and the people, without any selfishness. Now he can finally retire with glory. Thank you, royal family, for your sympathy. I will make good use of the things that were brought back from the Tri-Army operation. Among the many families, only my Luo family. Now I have these things, I can form an iron army. Here, I thank the royal family for your help. Thank you for taking the burden off my grandfather and the Luo family. So we can relax. When Luo Qingtong said this, the smile on her lips was devilish. The next second Luo Qingtong to the Luo family to the outside of Luo to Luo Qingtong, Luo clan's iron army, follow me back to my residence. Yes. Many of the soldiers who chose to follow the Luo family were indescribably excited. The Luo family's iron army. In the future, they will be the Luo family's iron army. He could now openly follow the commander. Huh. Let's go. Let's go back. A group of people excitedly galloped on their horses and followed Luo Qingtong's footsteps. Chapter 323. Rumble. The sound of horses galloping could be heard as the crowd watched the Luo family's convoy leave. Then, they saw Luo Qingtong leading a large group of soldiers out of the three-army barracks. Oh my God! Everyone was dumbfounded as they looked at the long line of people. They didn't know what to say. These people were clearly wearing the elite armor of the three-army soldiers. Why did they follow the eldest daughter of the Luo family out of the barracks? Could it be that the Luo family was indignant that their commander-in-chief position had been taken away and had rebelled? But on second thought, it didn't seem right. If that was the case, the royal family would be in an uproar. But until now, they hadn't heard any movement or sound of any wind. And with so many people rushing out of the barracks, why wasn't anyone chasing after them? No matter how they looked at it, it didn't seem like they were rebelling. The group of people was instantly confused. What the hell was the Luo family doing? Did they give the tiger tally or not? Everyone was confused. Meanwhile, Luo Qingtong had already led the Luo family's Iron Army back to the Luo family. The so-called Luo family's Iron Army was actually a name that Luo Qingtong had thought of. She had stolen the name of the Luo family's Iron Army from Old Master Luo's personal guards and established the Luo family's Iron Army. In any case, this name was iron-blooded enough. Old Master Luo would definitely like it. Rumble. When Luo Qingtong led the Luo family's Iron Army back to the Luo family, it caused quite a stir in Windgaze City. Especially the Chu family. Old Master Chu didn't follow Luo Qingtong and the Imperial Guards to the three-army barracks. Due to his special status, he could only persuade Luo Qingtong to stop there. Although he felt that Luo Qingtong wouldn't leave the matter at that, he didn't expect Luo Qingtong to cause such a huge commotion. She actually brought back nearly a third of the three-army soldiers. Could it be that she had fallen out with the royal family and rebelled? Subconsciously, Old Master Chu had the same thought. He immediately sent someone to inquire about the news. When Old Master Chu heard the news, he was dumbfounded. Luo Qingtong had done much more than he had imagined. Not only did he destroy the three armies, he even dragged half of them back to the Luo clan and established the Luo clan's Iron Army. How could a 14 or 15-year-old girl who had never seen the world be able to do such a thing? This method was even more ruthless than what he and Old Man Luo had done together. How did Old Man Luo raise such a granddaughter? With her around, how could the Luo family fall? Unless the engagement between Tianyu's royal family and the Luo clan was completely dissolved. Or maybe the royal family of Tianyu did it themselves. Otherwise, it was impossible. Old Master Chu was old and sharp. He saw through the crux of the matter at a glance. He took a deep breath and immediately called for his subordinates. Prepare a generous gift for me immediately. I want to pay the Luo clan a visit. The previous visit wasn't official. He was worried about the Luo clan situation, so he went with the Imperial Guards to pass on the Imperial Edict. This time, Old Master Chu wanted to pay a visit to Luo Qingtong as the head of the Chu family and the Marquis of Dinghua. The granddaughter of his old rival wasn't simple at all. Chapter 324. Bang! A cloud of smoke exploded in front of Bei Qing and Feng Yu. One of the rings on their hands shattered, forming a strange ghostly face in the air. La la la. You can't catch her. You can't catch her, right? The two looked at the disappearing cloud of smoke, their lips twitching. Fortunately, Master didn't come. Bei Qing said to Feng Yu. Otherwise, he would die of anger. The evil doctor really knew how to play. Not only did she hide the ring in a strange place, but she also left such a message, if Master saw this, he would explode in a minute. And before. They had searched several places in a row, but they were all special places that were hard to explain. Thinking about how they had just entered a small brothel and were almost turned upside down, Bei Qing's face was still green. She didn't know why the evil doctor had so many strange ideas in her head. No wonder Master couldn't catch her every time. Let's go to the next one. Feng Yu's lips also twitched. He was also amazed by the evil doctor's ability to escape. No wonder Master had not set foot in that place for so many years, but still insisted on going back to get the Shifang dragon ring. It turned out that the evil doctor had come up with so many tricks. This 9 Netherworld Phoenix ring had been tossed into such a fake and shoddy product. How could she be so capable? This was really the person Feng Yu had met in his entire life. Other than his own master, he was the most unfathomable person. Let's go. Bei Qing looked like she had nothing left to live for. I hope we can find the evil doctor this time. I think it's very difficult. Feng Yu opened the sensor marker that his master had given him and the others. It was truly a headache that he couldn't describe. There were dozens of densely packed locations, all of which were the exact locations where Yi Qianxian had sensed the fluctuations of the 9 Netherworld Phoenix ring through the Shifang dragon ring. It extended from the Tianyu Empire to the surrounding areas. It was really a headache. After we find the evil doctor this time, we must tell her not to run away again. Master likes her and won't hurt her. Otherwise, we don't know how many times she will torture us. Feng Yu muttered in his heart. We must help Master to confess. Otherwise, they really wouldn't be able to withstand this devastation. The evil doctor was truly too extraordinary. Even the 9 Netherworld Phoenix ring couldn't hold her. I must help Master succeed in his confession. AI, why do you think our Master is so awkward? Didn't he just like evil doctors? You still refuse to admit it even if you're beaten to death. Bei Qing clutched her chest and said with lingering fear. He was so close to being sent to that bastard Zhuo Fei to be trained again. He was scared to death. It's probably because Master has never liked anyone before, so he doesn't know what to do. Feng Yu frowned. The fervent demonic doctor was indeed too good at running. Master hadn't even caught him yet, so how could she admit to liking him? This was too embarrassing. Feng Yu could vaguely guess her master's thoughts. It's so profound. I don't understand. Bei Qing shook her head. But what kind of feeling do you think like is? Even someone as wise and powerful as Master has fallen for it. Maybe it's the feeling of not being able to get what you want. Feng Yu pondered and said, for example, you pay a lot of attention to a person and want to be by her side every time to share her burden and protect her. Hey, what's with that expression? Feng Yu looked at Bei Qing with a dark face. The latter's face was filled with fear. You're talking about us and our master, right? They were always paying attention to their master. They wanted to stay by his side and protect him. Get lost. Chapter 325. The two of them arrived at Windgaze City in Dongli Country. Luo Qingtong stood in front of a group of soldiers who had followed her back to the Luo family. No, it should be called the Luo family's Iron Army now. She swept her gaze over the excited soldiers and said in a deep voice. Today is the day the Luo family's private army is established. From today onwards, you will be the only Iron Army of the Luo family. In the future, you will also be the pride of the Luo family. I'm going to ask you one last time. Do you regret joining the Luo clan at this time? If you regret it, you can stand up now. It's not too late. I allow you to leave. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold and indifferent. Everyone has to think for themselves. If you want to leave now, I will not stop you. Not only that, as a reward for standing behind the Luo family in times of danger, I will let you choose what you want from the 3 army barracks, miss. Don't say any more. When we stood up for the 3 army barracks, we had never thought of leaving the Luo family. Now that the Luo family has established an iron army, we are ecstatic. Miss, we are indebted to the general. Without him, we would not be where we are now. No matter what happens to the Luo family, we will never leave. Yes. Miss. Since we have chosen to stand by the Luo family, we have decided to live and die with the Luo family. You don't have to say these words today. We will never leave. That's right. We have been nurtured by the general. In such a precarious time, how can we abandon the Luo family? Miss, you don't have to say anything more. We are now members of the Luo family in life, and our souls in death. Yes. The crowd was in high spirits. Luo Qingtong looked at them, her heart slightly moved. These people showed her that there were still people in this world who could be trusted. Good. She looked at them and nodded. Since you have chosen the Luo family, I will not let you down. Those who have gratitude in their hearts will never be let down. I promise you that as long as the Luo family exists, you will all enjoy the same glory. In the future, no one will be able to stop you. Now, I want all of you to cripple your own cultivation. Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed with bloody light as she looked at them. What? All the officers and soldiers thought that Luo Qingtong wanted them to swear allegiance to the Luo family, and they were ready. But he didn't expect Luo Qingtong to say such words. Cripple my own cultivation? Everyone almost thought that they had misheard. However, at this moment, Luo Qingtong nodded lightly and repeated, "That's right, cripple your own cultivation." Her voice was indifferent, and she did not explain why she wanted them to do so. What these people did in the end would determine their future. If they were willing to cripple themselves for the sake of the Luo family, then Luo Qingtong could completely trust them. Luo Qingtong wouldn't use oaths and poison to insult these soldiers who stood by the Luo family's side to repay their kindness. However, she had to ensure their absolute loyalty. She was now giving them a path to heaven, and it was up to them if they were willing to step on it. Miss? Chapter 326. To a martial artist, crippling their own cultivation meant that their many years of hard work would all be for naught. In the future, they would be reduced to ordinary people who couldn't cultivate. These people didn't understand why Luo Qingtong wanted them to do this. Didn't Miss bring them back to use them as a deterrent to those who had evil intentions towards the Luo family? Everyone was at a loss, struggling with all kinds of thoughts. But they didn't know that the battle slave experts in the dark were about to suffer internal injuries from envy and jealousy. Master's words clearly meant that she wanted to personally help them recuperate their bodies and improve their talents. To others, crippling one's own cultivation might mean that they would become a cripple. But in Master's hands, they could turn the rotten into the miraculous and be reborn. Looking at the changes in Master Luo, who was sleeping in the main room, they understood. These people were responsible for guarding Master Luo, so they were naturally the clearest about his changes. The current Master Luo's body was far superior to ordinary people in all aspects. If his talent increased, how long would it take to cultivate back to his original strength? Wouldn't that be easy? These people could be considered to have hit the jackpot. To be able to get Master's help. You can think about it carefully. If you don't want to, I won't force you. You can leave the Luo family now. My previous promise is still valid. Luo Qingtong quietly watched their struggle. She was invisible in the eyes of the soldiers of the 3 armies. Hence, the expression on their faces was even more realistic. Luo Qingtong took in all these people's expressions, waiting for their decision. Miss, can we ask why? Dong Yu and the other generals struggled to ask. They were the most powerful, so naturally they had the most concerns. No. Luo Qingtong's voice was indifferent. In the future, all of you have to remember. My orders have always been obeyed, never questioned. She had too many secrets, so it was impossible to explain everything to them. Those who weren't willing to obey her orders didn't have the qualifications to follow her. Yes. Dong Yu and the others lowered their heads, their hearts full of torment. At this moment, someone finally couldn't bear it anymore. Mother, isn't it just no strength? At worst, I can cultivate again. This father's strength was given to me by Commander. So what if I return it to the Luo family? As he spoke, he fiercely made a move on himself. Behind him, the rest of the soldiers seemed to have been moved as well, and they all began to move. The other party was right. Their strength was given to them by the Luo family. So what if they returned it to the Luo family? What's more, Luo Qingtong's words, it was for their own good. Although everyone had doubts about this, since they had given up the treatment of the three armies at the most dangerous time and came to the Luo family, they naturally would not easily go against Luo Qingtong's orders. The duty was to obey orders. They had sworn an oath that they would live and die as members of the Luo clan. How could the first thing Luo family? Those who dared to follow Luo Qingtong back and stand against the royal family were all brave men from the three armies, In the end, not a single person in the crowd was able to stand firm. All right. Luo Qingtong looked at their actions and suddenly raised her hand. Help them all up, bring them back to their rooms and take good care of them. 3 months later, I want a brand new, incomparably strong Luo family iron army. Yes. Chapter 327. Shock. Extreme shock. The Luo family's iron soldiers, who had just crippled their own cultivation, were now weaker than ordinary people. They were dumbfounded when they saw these battle slave experts jump out from the dark. How could they not be dumbfounded? Although they had lost their strength, their eyesight was still there. These people, even if they were not at the great martial general realm. What's more, they were at the martial lord realm. Oh my God! There was also a peak martial lord. The group of Luo family's iron soldiers, who had just passed Luo Qingtong's test, looked at the group of martial lord realm battle slave experts who jumped out at the end. Their faces were completely stunned. They weren't dreaming, right? Peak martial lord. That was not the strength of a commander. In an inferior country like Eastern Fence country, he would be relied on as a pillar and be conferred the title of Marquis. In the entire Eastern Fence country, a peak martial lord was already considered the top fighting strength. It was said that the royal family had a secret method to nurture martial king experts, but no one had seen it and no one knew about it. And now, everyone watched in shock as the experts that they could only look up to walked in front of Luo Qingtong and respectfully called out, "Master." Ouch! Someone fiercely pinched his own thigh. Then, he started crying from the uncontrollable force of his pinch. Oh my God! This is real, not a dream. Oh my God! Everyone was speechless, their eyes were full of shock, and they did not know what to say. They could only let the group of battle slave experts help them back to their rooms with a wooden face. They had never enjoyed such treatment in their lives, even in their dreams. Dong Yu and the other generals looked at each other in dismay, their faces full of shock. Their strength could already be ranked at the top in Eastern Fence country, but the battle slave experts in front of them were almost all stronger than them. Not to mention those martial lord experts. Who said the Luo family was about to fall? Fall my ass. Just these people, any one of them was enough to deter everyone. Not to mention there were a few here. To put it bluntly, with the lineup under Luo Qingtong's command, in Eastern Fence country, she could destroy any family she wanted. Probably only the royal family could barely contend against her. And that was under the condition that a martial king expert was dispatched. If not, even the royal family would not be able to withstand the attacks of the Luo family. The Luo clan actually had such strength? The people outside had all misjudged him. Everyone was aghast. What they didn't know was that Luo Qingtong's strength wasn't limited to this. The few martial kings from the Nine Magi Mountain had yet to show themselves. If they appeared, Dong Yu and the others would probably faint from fright. What did a group of martial Emperor realm experts represent? It meant that as long as Luo Qingtong was willing, she could easily flatten any low-level country. Even a slightly weaker mid-sized country would not be able to compete with her. Dong Yu and the others looked at all of this with their mouths agape. There was only one thought in their minds, and that was, if anyone really thought that the Luo clan was finished and came to bully them, then they would really be finished. The group of people was supported and left. Before leaving, she was shocked by Luo Qingtong's words. By the way, take off all the rags they are wearing. Don't wear them anymore. Luo Qingtong had looted the treasury of the Tianyu Empire's royal family, so she had nothing to worry about. The Luo family's iron army was loyal to her. In times of crisis, they did not abandon the Luo family. Naturally, she would give them the best reward. Chapter 328. Yes. The group of battle slave powerhouses respond. On the other hand, the Luo clan soldiers almost stumbled and fell to the ground even though they were being supported. Oh my god. They're wearing the most elite equipment in the entire Eastern Fence army. Seeing Luo Qingtong wipe out the entire three-army camp, 6th King Cheng's heart ached and the faces of the remaining soldiers were ashen. One could tell how good these armors were. Luo Qingtong actually said these are junk? Could it be that eldest miss has better equipment in her hands? The group of people think. They've just recovered their wits with great difficulty, but they're once again shocked by this shocking news and can't recover for a long time. By the time they react, they've already been helped back to their rooms. You guys hit the jackpot. Master doesn't make a move easily. Do you know what Master's identity is? The group of battle slave powerhouses say enviously. What? A soldier asks foolishly. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. Plop plop. In an instant, a few soldiers who just climbed onto their beds lose their footing and fall from above. If it weren't for those battle slave powerhouses, who knows how they would have fallen to the ground. What did you say? Everyone is completely shocked and dazed. This is even more shocking than the Luo clan hiding such a powerful force in private. Luo Qingtong is actually evil Dr. Ghost Eye. That Blackfield's evil doctor, even the Lanhua clan has to personally send out a purple rank invitation and the bloody arena is protecting her. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye? That's not the point. It's evil Dr. Ghost Eye who directly made an Earth Stage alchemist of the Blackfield auction house wish he was dead. From then on, she became famous and became an honored guest of Eastern Fence Country's Blackfield branch city. A person who can kill an Earth Stage alchemist, what kind of concept is that? What's more, eldest miss is still young. Oh my god. Everyone widens their eyes and clutches their chests. They almost have a heart attack. Damn, this happiness came too suddenly. They can't quite bear it. So, there's hope for our strength to recover? A soldier asks in a trembling voice. What's the big deal? Just wait to ascend to the heavens in the future. A battle slave expert said enviously, I wonder what kind of good fortune you guys accumulated in your previous lives. I can't believe he has such luck. Just you wait. 3 months later, you will be reborn and be reborn. Just when the Luo clan's iron army was shocked by the new news and almost fainted, in the palace of Dongli, King Dongli was furious when he heard the news. He slapped the luminous pearl he was playing with in his hand and broke it. Bastard! Luo Qingtong is too bold. And all of you, a bunch of trash. Being toyed with by a teenage girl. You actually have the face to come back and see me. If I were you, I would have killed myself already. He angrily scolded Prince Cheng and the others. This group of trash, he had sent them to take over the three armies, and this was what they brought back. The encampment of the three armies was now a mess, and he still had to find a way to settle down those soldiers who had been stripped of all their equipment. If it weren't for the fact that these people still had some fighting strength, King Dongli would have just left them there to fend for themselves. Forget it, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. At least these people were trained by the country-guarding marquis. Whether it's fighting strength or experience, they are far above the Imperial Guard. They can still be used after being incorporated. Thinking this, King Dongli's anger subsided a bit. He waved his hand to let Prince Cheng and the others leave first and allocate some of the Imperial Guard's resources to the three armies. Chapter 329. Your Majesty, it's not that we are incompetent. It's that Luo Qingtong is too arrogant. She is the future wife of the fifth prince of the Tianyu Empire. We don't dare to touch her. Sixth Prince Cheng and his entourage lay on the ground and cried bitterly. Not only did she take away all the supplies of the three armies, leaving an empty shell for us, she also crippled all the soldiers of the three armies. Prince Cheng's face was gray. He never thought that Luo Qingtong's means were so cruel. At that time, after Luo Qingtong left, he didn't think too much. He directly scolded those soldiers who were stripped naked to get up. However, when a group of people crawled up while trembling in fear, another group of people were lying on the ground like dead fish. Only then did Qing Lu Wangye feel that something was wrong. After asking, he learned that when Luo Qingtong ordered the Luo family's iron guards to attack, these people were ready to resist. But before they could do anything, they were all paralyzed. Not only that, the strength in their body was still disappearing little by little. A group of people wept bitterly as they told Qing Lu Wangye not to abandon them. Otherwise, they would have no chance to live at all. Prince Cheng's heart was shocked. At this time, a soldier who had just activated his strength suddenly cried out in despair, "My strength! My strength is slowly disappearing." It turned out that even those who didn't do anything at that time, when they activated their strength later, fell into the same treatment as those who had attacked before. It turned out that Luo Qingtong's previous sentence, "I advise you not to do anything, or you will have to bear the consequences," was not that they shouldn't fight with the Luo family, but that from now on, they couldn't use their strength. Otherwise, they would lose their strength. These people, because Master Luo lost his strength, turned to the Dongli royal family. Luo Qingtong naturally wanted them to taste the corresponding pain. Want glory and wealth? Want to be driven by the Dongli royal family to deal with the Luo family? She didn't give them a chance. She wanted to take back everything that the Luo family gave them, including these strength. At this point, the three armies that the Dongli royal family tried their best to control completely became a pile of mud and useless firewood. Since the Dongli royal family wanted to kill the cunning rabbit and cook the hound, then Master Luo didn't train the three armies for them. Luo Qingtong was such a vengeful and ruthless person. Those who helped her, she would repay them tenfold. Those who hated her, she would repay them 100-fold. She was righteous, but if they didn't, don't blame her for being ruthless. She didn't have Master Luo's loyalty to the Dongli country and the royal family. Naturally, she didn't care about the three armies. Since the Luo clan had no one to help them when they were in trouble, there were still people who hit them while they were down. Then, she would let them know that without the Luo family and old Master Luo's sacrifice, they were nothing. There were always some people who, after getting used to living a good life, began to forget who had brought these days to them. What? When King Dongli heard this, he almost thought that he had misheard. "That's me Royal Luo the three armies as the armies." His voice rose by an octave. After receiving Master Chunglio's panicked and frightened nod, King Luo felt dizzy and almost fell to the ground. "Send a message to the Tianyu royal family," he roared. "Let them see how to deal with Luo Qingtong. With her, we can't touch the Luo family openly. King Luo was really angry. Just as he sent a message to the Tianyu Empire, in the Black Field, Yi Qianxian finished bathing and sat on the wide bed in his bedroom, rubbing the Shifeng dragon ring in his hand. Chapter 330. A strand of spiritual force suddenly emanated from his body, wrapping around the 10-directional dragon ring in his hand. Yi Qianxian had originally planned to personally look for Luo Qingtong. However, Elder Yu seemed to have comprehended a new method from the changes in his body. He hastily left behind a few words, telling him not to leave the Black Field for the time being and to return to the medicine hall for seclusion. Since it was related to his injuries, Yi Qianxian could only stay behind and send Beiqing's wind feather out. However, although he couldn't go himself, he still wanted to see that woman. He wanted to see if that heartless woman had forgotten about him. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's deep eyes faintly flashed. With a whoosh, his consciousness followed his strand of spiritual force and entered the 10-directional dragon ring. The black ring on the ring finger of his left hand suddenly shone brightly and emitted a lustrous light. At the same time, eastern border country, Windgaze City. Luo Qingtong had finished refining all the medicinal liquids needed by the Luo clan's iron army. She was indescribably tired and fell asleep as soon as she returned. Little Pig was tossed out of her sleeve. It snorted a few times and also fell asleep next to her. It was already sleeping soundly when Luo Qingtong was refining medicine. Now that it was on the bed, it was even more snoring. The master and pet were sleeping soundly, but they didn't notice that the 9 phoenix ring on Luo Qingtong's hand suddenly flashed. A faint, fiery red light flashed and disappeared. Where is this? Luo Qingtong was in a daze when she discovered that she had appeared in a strange space. It was a vast expanse of white all around. It was as if she was stepping on air. Where is this? Is this a dream? But why did she have such a strange dream? Shouldn't it be a better dream? For example, some delicious food, a handsome man. Luo Qingtong had just thought of this when the mist in front of her suddenly dispersed, revealing a black figure. The man was dressed in a pure black robe with golden edges. The outer robe was casually draped over his body, revealing a pure white inner robe and a slightly open chest. His long hair, which was like a waterfall, seemed to be dripping with water as it draped over the man's back, reaching his ankles. The water on the surface had dyed his heavy robe and made it stick to his body. It made the man's body look even more slender and his skin was as white as jade. That perfect face that angered both men and gods was now looking indifferently in the direction of Luo Qingtong. Women. Yi Qianxian narrowed his eyes and spoke in a low voice. Oh my God! Looking at the man in front of her, Luo Qingtong almost subconsciously turned around to run. Seeing her actions, Yi Qianren, who was originally quite happy to see her, suddenly had a heavy expression on her face. She instantly appeared beside her and raised her hand to grab her. This woman actually wanted to avoid him even in her dreams. Was he that scary? Why did she want to avoid him so much? Thinking of this, Yi Qianren gritted her teeth. However, before he could grab Luo Qingtong, the latter suddenly slapped her head and stopped herself from running away. Aya! Why am I running? This isn't real, it's just a dream. Thinking of this, she turned around and walked towards Yi Qianxian. Yi Qianxian? Chapter 331. This dream is so realistic. Except for the clothes I'm wearing, isn't this the first time that man tried to grab me? Luo Qingtong said as she threw herself into Yi Qianxian's arms with a smile. The latter was stunned. Before he could react, she had already thrown herself into his arms. Woman, you, Yi Qianxian retracted his hand. Just as he was about to say something, his body suddenly stiffened. Luo Qingtong was touching his body. Wow! The feeling of your body is exactly the same as a real person. Are all dreams so realistic now? Yi Qianxian was touched by her until his entire body was hot and dry. He was so stiff that he couldn't speak. His body was transformed from a wisp of his soul. Through the connection of the dragon and phoenix rings, he came to this consciousness space opened up by the 9 netherworld phoenix ring. It could be said that Luo Qingtong touching him now was equivalent to touching him. Woman, have you always been so bold and unrestrained? Yi Qianxian grabbed Luo Qingtong's hand that was constantly touching his body. His voice was hoarse as he looked at her with deep eyes. This woman had previously avoided him like a snake or a scorpion. Why did she suddenly become so enthusiastic? Yi Qianxian was very uncomfortable with Luo Qingtong's hot and cold attitude. No, I'm only bold and unrestrained towards you. Luo Qingtong blinked her eyes and said. Sure enough, this was a dream. This man would actually ask her such a question. How interesting. She thought as she hooked her neck closer to the man and blew into his ear, what's wrong? Lord doesn't like it? Facing a dangerous man in reality, Luo Qingtong naturally kept a respectful distance. But in a dream, it was different. This man was under her control. Of course, she could tease him however she wanted. How could Luo Qingtong let go of such a high-quality man? In fact, if Yi Qianxian wasn't too dangerous, in reality, she wouldn't let him go either. The young lady's sweet fragrance seemed to spread rapidly towards his ears with that breath. It was clearly a dream, but Yi Qianxian seemed to smell the sweet scent on her body. You. He tightened his grip on her hand and his eyes were indescribably deep. In the next second, in front of Luo Qingtong's widened eyes, he suddenly pressed her to the ground. You want to touch me? Come back to the black field with me. You can touch me however you want. His eyes were gloomy as he looked at the young girl who was like a blossoming peach blossom beneath him. He looked at her mouth that was slightly open due to shock and her eyes that were wide open. He was obviously such an evil and wanton person, but in this moment of surprise, he inexplicably gave people a very lovable feeling. However, Yi Qianyun knew that all of this was just an illusion. As long as this woman was given a chance, she would be able to turn the world upside down. He had never seen such a tormenting woman, but he was deeply trapped inside. Tell me your real name, woman. He gently nibbled on the young girl's delicate lips. His low and hoarse voice was like a demon's coaxing. Tell me where you are, your real identity. This woman clearly liked him. Yi Qianxian's eyes shone. This was the first time he wanted a woman so much. And this woman's hands were moving up and down his body, which meant that she wasn't completely indifferent to him. As if she was tempted by Yi Qianxian's words, Luo Qingtong opened her mouth. Chapter 332. With a whoosh, Yi Qianxian's entire body seemed to be locked up by invisible chains. In the next second, Luo Qingtong, who was lying on top of countless white clouds, suddenly exerted force and pushed him under her body. Lord, are you happy? This is my little gift to you. Luo Qingtong's lips hung an evil smile. Her face, which was already beautiful to begin with, was now set off by a wicked and wanton smile, making her appear even more soul-stirringly beautiful. This kind of beauty even surpassed the beauty of a pure appearance, and directly struck at the heart. Like a soul-sucking demon. You. Yi Qianxian's 4 limbs were imprisoned by the invisible chains that extended from the surrounding white clouds, and he could only let the girl push him down. This woman. He was deceived by her pretense of being well-behaved and obedient again. Yi Qianxian's heart was filled with a burst of anger. He was angry that he always unconsciously let down his guard when facing this woman. He was also angry that this woman always thought of ways to avoid him. Yi Qianxian's face was dark, but Luo Qingtong's face was indescribably smiling like a flower. Previously, she really thought that she was dreaming, and was prepared to properly take liberties with Yi Qianxian. After all, she couldn't provoke this man in reality, but couldn't she be impudent in a dream? But after the man pushed her down and said those words, she instantly became vigilant. Luo Qingtong originally suspected that the 9-phoenix ring wasn't an ordinary ring, and it was very likely that it was an extremely precious item on Yi Qianxian's body. Since that was the case, then the connection between the two rings couldn't be one-sided. In other words, this man could use this ring to restrain her, and similarly, she could also use this ring to restrain him. The connection between these two rings should be equal. They should affect each other. Now it seemed that she had guessed correctly. Just now, she was being pressed down by Yi Qianxian and couldn't move because she was looking for a way to control this space. Now, she had indeed found it. Be good, don't be angry, Luo Qingtong smiled and leaned over to kiss the man's thin lips, and her smile was indescribably evil. The man lying under her was truly a feast for the eyes, and Luo Qingtong's heart was somewhat stirred. But when she thought of this man's boundless strength in reality, Luo Qingtong instantly withered. Some men could be seen, but not eaten. Eating them could kill. AI. She turned over and sat on Yi Qianxian's body, her fingers lightly stroked the man's chest. Honorable Lord, tell me, why are you chasing after me so relentlessly? You see, although I've done some bad things to you before, I've made up for it. See, you've fainted in the 9-Phoenix Mountain, eastern borders Black City, and the Tianyu Empire. Fine, let's forget that incident, that time. But, I've saved you too. Can we stop revenge, when there's an end of it? Tell me. What do I have to do to stop you from catching me? Yi Qianxian was fuming from Luo Qingtong's touch, especially when the girl's fingers occasionally brushed against his sensitive spots. This woman, what exactly does she want? Let go of this lord first. He said with a dark face. I won't let go. Luo Qingtong looked at him from the corner of her eyes, and saw that the man's handsome face was even darker from anger, but he was still shockingly handsome. She couldn't help but lean over and kiss him on the lips. Chapter 333. She licked her lips and said with a smile, it wasn't easy for me to catch you when you weren't paying attention. If I let you go, I'll be the unlucky one. That man's ring was definitely more advanced than hers. Luo Qingtong wouldn't gamble on a fluke. She would never let go of Yi Qianxian. What's more, she had never heard of anyone who didn't want food delivered to their doorstep and send it back. It was good for men to be like this. Luo Qingtong liked the way he was being suppressed by her. She didn't want to let go of him. Only the current Yi Qianren was her prey that completely belonged to her. The smile on Luo Qingtong's lips was evil. She couldn't touch the real Yi Qianxian, but now she couldn't let go of this Yi Qianxian. Evil eye, you. Yi Qianxian was so angry at Luo Qingtong's righteous words that the veins on his forehead were throbbing. This woman was really, Yi Qianxian didn't know what words to use to describe Luo Qingtong. The only thing he was sure of was that this was the boldest and most difficult to see through woman he had ever met. Luo Qi. Just as Yi Qianren was angered by Luo Qingtong until his face turned black, the young lady's voice suddenly rang out. Luo Qingtong leaned over and whispered into his ear. She enunciated every word clearly. My name is Luo Qi. This is my real name. Remember it. This is my only name that is deeply engraved in my soul. Luo Qingtong was raised by a beggar in her previous life. What kind of culture could a beggar have? Luo Qingtong was picked up by him on the 7th of December. She took the beggar's surname Luo and was called Luo Qi. Luo Qingtong was the name she changed after she became famous. Firstly, this name was her first warm memory. She didn't want to take it out and let those who hated her curse at her. Secondly, those people who hated her called her evil eye. Luo Qingtong wanted to go against those people, so she gave herself the name Qingtong. Didn't they say that she was evil? She wanted to clear it. Luo Qingtong's temperament was so evil. Luo Qi? The anger in Yi Qianxian's heart was immediately extinguished by this name. Luo Qingtong might not have known, but in the true Spill continent, only a child that had been completely abandoned by their family would not be given a name. Instead, their name would be replaced by a ranking number. Then, he thought about how he had been looking for the other party for so long but still couldn't find him. With the other party's strength and ability, it was impossible for him to be unknown. There was only one possibility. Her situation was not good, so she needed to hide and cover herself everywhere. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's heart suddenly ached for Luo Qingtong. He wasn't so angry that Luo Qingtong was always hiding from him. Let go of this lord. From now on, this lord will protect you. He would never let anyone bully her again. Protect her? Luo Qingtong's heart inexplicably skipped a beat. She looked at the handsome and solemn face of the man beneath her. She didn't know why, but she had an impulse to believe him. But, Luo Qingtong looked up and down at Yi Qianxian's movements that she was suppressing. Her lips curved into a sly smile. High Lord has made great progress. You know how to use such words to deceive me. But, these are all leftovers from my games. So, High Lord, you should be obedient. I won't be fooled. As she spoke, she leaned over and nibbled on the man's lips. Luo Qi. The veins on Yi Qianxian's forehead bulged again. Chapter 334. Master. A voice suddenly sounded out from outside. Yi Qianxian's mind was drawn out from the 10 directions dragon ring, leaving only a wisp of his soul inside. Come in. He said in a low voice. Yes. The person respectfully waiting outside walked in. It was Zhuo Fei, the person in charge of the intelligence building. Master. Zhuo Fei didn't have the frivolous and enchanting appearance that he had in front of others. Instead, he stood in front of Yi Qianxian with a very serious expression, without the slightest bit of frivolity. Speak. We've found out some news from the Lanhua family. This matter involves the young master of the Lanhua family, so we came out a bit late. As Zhuo Fei spoke, he reported the information that Yi Qianxian had asked him to investigate. After the young master returned from 9 Magus Mountain, he was suddenly able to cultivate. The Lanhua family kept this matter a secret because they were afraid that the people there would cause trouble. My subordinates spent a great deal of effort to find out. And when they went to Eastern Fence Nation's Blackfield Branch City, the young master also went with them. If I'm not mistaken, the poison in the young master's body should have been cured by the evil doctor. As Zhuo Fei spoke of Luo Qingtong, his tone was very respectful. Firstly, he understood that his master had feelings for this evil doctor. Secondly, the medical skills that Luo Qingtong had displayed were truly amazing. It had to be known that the poison in the young master's body had been cured by the Black Field in the past, but almost no one had been able to cure it. Although Elder Yuelao could cure the young master, it would take far too long to guarantee that the young master would be completely unharmed. Not just that, but the herbs required were not something that could be found in the true Spill continent. Thus, he naturally had no intention of doing anything. But after a trip to 9 Magus Mountain, the young master was suddenly healed and could even cultivate. The young master's matter is still being kept a secret. I'm afraid that it will only be revealed to the public after the Tianyu Empire's the Empire of Qin Branch City enrolls students. The Lanhua family wants to use this method to push the young master onto the stage so that the people there won't dare to act rashly. Yi Qianxian nodded, his expression a bit dispirited. This news was useless to him. If it were before he discovered that Luo Qingtong was evil Dr. Ghost Eye, he might have been happy. But now, it was completely useless. But this matter was related to that woman. Thinking about the little boy's true identity, Yi Qianren frowned and ordered Zhuo Fei, "Have someone keep an eye on the Lanhua family. Report to me if there are any strange movements." That little Shota's identity was not ordinary. The Lanhua family might not have sent out such a grand invitation just to express their gratitude. Of the sect, of the heavens. If that was the case, that woman might be involved in the dispute. Since he said that he would protect that woman, then he would definitely protect her. Perhaps through the Lanhua family, he might be able to capture that cunning woman. With her temperament, if she saved that young master, she didn't owe him a favor. She must have hit it off with him. Since she had given him her name in advance, she would definitely appear when she received the news. He only needed to send someone to wait for her. Yes. Zhuo Fei answered and left. Chapter 335. Whoosh. Yi Qianxian's consciousness returned to that wisp of soul. His body was still bound by the chains, but that evil and hateful woman was no longer in this space of consciousness. Luo Qingtong had already mastered how to use the 9 Netherworld Phoenix Ring, so Yi Qianxian couldn't use the Shifang Dragon Ring to restrain her. If he hadn't wrapped the 9 Netherworld Phoenix Ring with a ball of energy in advance, he might have even lost her position. Thinking of this, the veins on Yi Qianxian's forehead popped again. He pulled his consciousness out of the 10-directional dragon ring and found Zhuo Fei again. Spread a net throughout this sovereign's territory and find a person called Luo Qi, regardless of gender. Do this in secret and don't leak the news. Otherwise, with that woman's craftiness, she would run away without a trace. Although Yi Qianxian doubted whether this was Luo Qingtong's real name, that woman didn't look like she was faking it, so he might as well give it a try. Yes. Zhuo Fei answered. Luo Qi, why was this name so strange? Could it be the name of the evil doctor? Zhuo Fei looked at his master's dark face and tactfully didn't ask. Master must have been defeated by the demonic doctor again, Zhuo Fei thought and glanced at the Shifang Dragon Ring on Yi Qianxian's left ring finger. He suddenly coughed lightly and said, "Actually, Master, women like to hear sweet words." "Master, you can try." Every time Master was angered by the evil doctor, they, as subordinates, were also anxious. If this went on, when would Master be able to win the beauty's heart? And the evil doctor wasn't an ordinary person. Sweet words? Hearing his words, Yi Qianren frowned. He thought about how he and Luo Qingtong would protect her, but in the end, that woman still lied to him and even bit him on the lips. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's face instantly darkened. This sovereign said I would protect her, but she bit me. As Yi Qianxian spoke, he unconsciously raised his hand to touch his lips. That woman was really, but for some reason, Yi Qianxian didn't feel angry at being bitten at all. He only felt a faint pain in the place where he was bitten, mixed with a slight numbness. The soul fragment was connected to the main body, so when Yi Qianxian's soul fragment was bitten, his main body also felt it. He was really poisoned by that woman. Yi Qianxian's heart was filled with hatred. If it was someone else dared to do this, he would have long been torn to pieces. However, that woman treated his dignity as nothing. She kissed him whenever she wanted and nibbled on him whenever she wanted. She was clearly avoiding him like something, yet she was baring her fangs and brandishing her claws in places where he couldn't catch her. He really wanted to catch her and teach her a good lesson. Thinking of this, Yi Qianya's face turned even darker. Cough cough cough. Yi Qianxian's words caused Zhuo Fei to cough violently. It can't be, right? Bite? So explosive? But his master had already confessed, how could the evil doctor be so indifferent? That's not possible. He stole a glance at Yi Qianxian's darkened face and asked carefully, "Master, did you say something at the wrong time?" When he said this, Yi Qianxian instantly thought of the time when he was pinned down by Luo Qingtong. What should he say? Should he say that he was careless and fell into that woman's trap? Seeing his master's face suddenly change, Zhou Fei's heart was filled with alarm. He quickly found an excuse to leave and ran away. Oh my God, if he was any later, he might end up like that idiot Bei Qing. But what exactly did the evil doctor do to make his master so angry? She was really something. Chapter 336. At the same time, the awesome Luo Qingtong had just woken up from her dream. She was lying on the bed, hugging her blanket and laughing mischievously. Yi Qianqian's appearance was simply too amusing. If it wasn't for him suddenly pulling his attention away, Luo Qingtong would have wanted to play for a while longer. It was rare to have the opportunity to tease that man without him being able to resist. Sigh, if she had known that this man was so terrifyingly strong, she would have taken advantage of him a few more times when she first met him. Unfortunately, it was hard to buy that with 1,000 gold coins. Moreover, that man at that time was also not to be trifled with. Luo Qingtong recalled Yi Qianqian's incomparably cold and furious gaze at that time. She immediately squinted her eyes and laughed again. She liked to tease large carnivores, especially men as strong as Yi Qianqian. Unfortunately, the other party's strength was simply too strong. Every time, she had to put in a lot of effort to tease him. Moreover, that man's improvement was too fast, right? Today, he actually knew how to use sweet words to corrode her heart. Fortunately, she wasn't the kind of person who would be charmed by men. If she really let that man go, perhaps the control of that consciousness space would be taken away again. She wasn't going to fall for it. Thinking of this, Luo Qingtong laughed again. However, that man's sweet-talking skills were pretty good. She almost believed that sentence. No one had ever said that they would protect her in front of her. It wasn't that no one said it, but that some people wanted to say it, but they were much weaker than her. As for those people who were stronger than her, Luo Qingtong supported her forehead with her hand and carefully thought about it. She realized that there weren't many of them. Of course, this was referring to her previous life. Hey, why are you laughing so happily by yourself? Little Pig was still in a daze from his sleep. He was almost suffocated by Luo Qingtong's action of rolling around in the blanket. With great difficulty, he crawled out from the blanket. When he saw Luo Qingtong's smiling face, he suddenly shuddered. What's wrong with this woman? His appearance was so horrifying. What's with that expression? Luo Qingtong glared at Little Pig's horrified expression and flicked its nose. Get up. You only know how to eat, drink, and sleep all day, and you're still talking about the ancient divine pig. No matter how ancient you are still a pig. You're insulting my divine pig's reputation. Little Pig jumped up in anger. Was he to blame it for not having the chance to display its strength? It was clear that this woman was too inhuman. He would kill any expert that came. If another one came, he would be beaten to death again. How could there be such a weirdo like her? If it were anyone else, they would have long prostrated themselves in worship. Humph. Luo Qingtong snorted and ignored it. This pig only knew how to twist words and force logic. However, Luo Qingtong could feel that Little Pig was much stronger than when she first met him. It should slowly grow along with her strength. If it wasn't for the fact that he still had some use, Luo Qingtong would have thrown him into the demon-subduing pagoda long ago. Alright, let's go. She stood up and said to Little Pig. Where are we going? Little Pig looked at her and asked. 9 Shaman Mountain. Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. It was time for her to tidy up the items in the Tianyu imperial family's treasury. Previously, she hadn't had the time to do so. You guys stay in the Luo residence. I won't see anyone when I'm not around. Kill all trespassers without mercy. Do you understand? Luo Qingtong instructed the group of battle slave experts before she left. Yes. the group of battle slaves answered. Chapter 337. Your Majesty, we got the news that Luo Qingtong has left the Luo family. Should we, in the Dongli Palace, Prince Cheng is reporting to Dongli King with a vicious face. At this moment, his face is full of hatred. When Prince Cheng returns, he finds out that he has also fallen into Luo Qingtong's trap. He thought he wouldn't be poisoned by Luo Qingtong's unknown poison on the platform. However, he did not expect that when he returned to his residence, he would be yelled at as soon as he tried to circulate his energy. This Luo Qingtong is really vicious. That day in the three-army camp, only she and the people she took away will be fine. The other party is vicious to this extent. This made Prince Cheng, who previously thought that Luo Qingtong was not enough to support the Luo family, shudder in his heart. Fortunately, Luo Qingtong's strength is average. Because of the broken engagement, she offended the royal family of Tianyu. The whole Luo family is worried. This is not their family against them. Luo Qingtong did those things. No matter how arrogant she is, what can she do? It can only alleviate the Luo family's predicament for a while until the royal family of Tianyu makes a move. They can only wait for bad luck. Prince Cheng hates Luo Qingtong in his heart, but on the surface, he tries to hide it so that Dongli King won't see it. Your Majesty, this is a rare opportunity. Are you stupid or am I stupid? Before the royal family of Tianyu says anything, you dare to touch her? Don't forget, Yu Wenma will marry no one but her. Dongli King scolds. This is what he and the other people who want to hit the Luo family when they are down are most afraid of. Even the Emperor of Tianyu can't win against Yu Wenma. He would rather be slapped in the face than break the engagement with the Luo family. Do they really dare to touch Luo Qingtong? If not for this, he would have 10,000 reasons to destroy her and the Luo family just based on Luo Qingtong's action of crippling the three armies. How can they bear such humiliation? But, Chenglu Wangye's face was full of unwillingness. Dongli King ignored him and asked his servant, "Is it certain that the news has reached the imperial family of Tianyu?" "Yes. Furthermore, it was passed to the seventh princess." The attendant replied. "Very good." King Dongli nodded with satisfaction. "Luo Qingtong, oh Luo Qingtong. Don't be so arrogant. How dare you embarrass the royal family? How much courage do you think you have? When Tianyu's royal family makes a move, let's see if you can still be so arrogant." King Dongli's face was cold. If it weren't for Luo Qingtong, the Eastern Fence three armies would have become his trump card. The Luo family was about to fall, but Luo Qingtong was still so insensible. Then don't blame him for being ruthless. Originally, he only wanted the three armies of the Eastern Fence line. But Luo Qingtong forced him to destroy the entire Luo clan. At that time, without his backing and being disliked by Tianyu's royal family, he would like to see how miserable Luo Qingtong would be. At that time, even if she cried and knelt in front of him, no one would look at her. Humph. While King Dongli was calculating, Yu Wenxue also received news from Dongli country. With one look, he was instantly enraged. What kind of trash is this? They can't even deal with the Luo clan? What a bunch of shit-eating rice buckets. Yu Wenxue's chest heaved with anger. Before, she gave the idea to the Empress of Tianyu to have Dongli deal with the Luo clan. She thought it would be foolproof and wouldn't involve Tianyu's royal family. Who would have thought that these people would be refuted by Luo Qingtong? This was simply infuriating. Chapter 338. Mother. Tianyu Imperial Palace. Seventh Princess Yu Wenxue rushed to the Tianyu Empress residence with a group of servants. The latter had just woken up from her afternoon nap and was being served by servants. Seeing Yu Wenxue rush in from outside, she immediately frowned and scolded, "Look at you, what kind of person are you? Do you want to be grounded by your father again? Mother. Yu Wenxue reluctantly slowed down and walked to the front of the Tianyu Empress with an aggrieved expression. What's the matter? What's made you so anxious? The Tianyu Empress looked at her. Isn't it because of that? Yu Wenxue was about to blurt out when she saw the servants by her mother's side and stopped. Enough, you can leave. I don't need you to serve me here. Seeing her like this, the Tianyu Empress dismissed the servants by her side, leaving only 2 of her trusted aides to serve her. All right, go ahead and say it. What's going on now? The Tianyu Empress rubbed her forehead and looked at Yu Wenxue. It's all because of that Luo Qingtong. Yu Wenxue pouted. Mother, look, this is news from Dongli's royal family. We said we were going to teach the Luo clan and that old man Luo a lesson and make them regret breaking off the engagement, but look. Luo Qingtong messed everything up. Yu Wenxue showed the Tianyu Empress the news from Dongli's royal family. Mother, we can't let the Luo clan and Luo Qingtong off so easily. Look at her, she's too arrogant. On one hand, she wants to break off the engagement with us, but on the other, she's using her status as Tianyu's future 5th prince's wife to act so arrogantly outside. Look, this is too much of a slap to our royal family's face. Who does Luo Qingtong think she is? Mother, we can't let this go. Otherwise, Luo Qingtong will think that our royal family is willing to compromise and only wants her. She'll climb all over us. She might even think that my royal brother isn't good enough for her. She wouldn't dare. Yu Wenshue's words hit the point that Empress Tianyu cared about the most. Tianyu Empress was most proud of the fact that she had given birth to Yuan Mo, a proud son of heaven. The Empire of Qin's Sacred Academy had defeated many geniuses from other empires, and even many geniuses from the Empire of Qin's Sacred Dynasty were no match for him. They were all willing to work for him. It was said that Yuan Mo's development in the Holy Court of the Empire of Qin was extremely good. He had already gained a foothold among the heaven-rank candidates and was highly regarded by the teachers of the Holy Court. Every time the Empress of Tianyu gathered with the noble ladies, she would brag about her son and enjoy the admiration of everyone. How could he tolerate Yu Wenxue saying that Yuan Mo wasn't worthy of Luo Qingtong? In her opinion, Luo Qingtong was the one who was clinging on to her son. If not for that engagement back then, coupled with Yuan Mo's resolute refusal to break off the engagement and give up on Luo Qingtong, how could the other party be able to secure the position of the future 5th prince's wife? How many people wanted to marry her son? Even with that person's status, she still favored Yuan Mo. Luo Qingtong had caused her son to be unable to have a meteoric rise, and now she was slapping her royal family's face again and again? Who gave her the guts? In an instant, the Empress of Tianyu was enraged by Yu Wenshue's words. Chapter 339. She's really shameless. She incited her grandfather to break off the engagement and disregarded our imperial family's dignity. She even dares to use our imperial family's prestige to act arrogantly. Send a message to Dongli's imperial family. Tianyu's imperial family doesn't care about the Luo clan. As long as Luo Qingtong doesn't die, they can do whatever they want with the Luo clan. It doesn't matter if they're destroyed. Forget it. Yu Wenxue curled her lips. Imperial mother, you didn't see it clearly. Those trash from Dongli's imperial family were crippled by Luo Qingtong. She even brought a group of people back to the Luo clan to form a private army. Now, if you let them attack the Luo clan, I don't know if they can win. They might be destroyed by the Luo clan instead. Speaking of this, Yu Wenxue felt uncomfortable. Luo Qingtong was too lucky. Even without grandfather Luo, the Luo clan still had so many trump cards to protect her. Where did the poison that crippled the Luo clan's army come from? Most likely, her mother left it for her. Thinking of this, Yu Wenxue felt resentful. Even as a princess of the royal family, she did not enjoy the treatment of being surrounded like Luo Qingtong. Her grandfather doted on her, her parents loved her, and she had so many trump cards. Her imperial brother still insisted on marrying her. She gained such a powerful backer for no reason. Even if the Luo clan was no longer glorious, they could still act arrogantly. Thinking of this, she felt unconvinced. How could the legitimate daughter of a marquis of a small inferior country have a better life than her, an imperial princess? She was going to destroy everything she had. If it wasn't for Luo Qingtong, her imperial brother would have agreed to that person's condition. She could have been treated as a princess of a holy dynasty and lived prouder than any other imperial princess. It was all Luo Qingtong's fault. Yu Wenxue didn't dare to blame Yu Wenma. Naturally, she vented all her anger on Luo Qingtong and the Luo clan. Imperial Mother, how about this? We secretly send out a group of savage tiger guards to disguise themselves as bandits and directly destroy the Luo clan. Yu Wenxue shook the Empress's arm. Imperial Mother, look at those people from Dongli. They're trash from a small inferior country. What can they do? Don't send them to Luo Qingtong again and increase the Luo clan's prestige. Imperial Mother, if we do this, then it'll be more and more difficult to deal with Luo Qingtong. After all, although old Master Luo has fallen, the Luo family has not. Now, she has the Luo family's iron army. In the future, she'll really give us a look's face. Especially Imperial Brother won't. Yu Wenshue's mother. Imperial Mother, we have to take this opportunity to knock down her arrogance. Let her know that even if Imperial Brother doesn't want to marry anyone but her, she is nothing in front of us. Imperial Mother. Yu Wenxue shook Empress Tianyu's hand and said coquettishly, look at what I did to her. She must hate me. She might even hate our imperial family. When moved by Yu Wenshue's words, the Empress's expression turned cold. But she still had a bit of reason in her heart. Go find your uncle for this matter. You must do it in secret. Don't let anyone know. Our Tianyu imperial family can't afford to lose that much face. Especially your imperial brother. He can't bear such a heavy scandal. Do you hear me? Tell them to do it cleanly. When the time comes, have the Dongli imperial family cooperate. Yes. Yu Wenxue jumped up in joy. I'll go find my uncle now. Imperial Mother, don't worry. I'll definitely do it properly. Chapter 340. 9 Magi Mountain. Luo Qingtong shook off a bunch of people who were following her in the dark and easily found the valley where old monster Yin Qi had captured her. Master. Seeing Luo Qingtong appear, the martial king experts who were guarding the valley all greeted her. Yes. Luo Qingtong responded in a low voice and scanned the surroundings. She found that this place had been built very well by the martial king experts. This secluded valley had already become a small base of power. In the future, this place would be the prototype of the Luo family's secret power. It would also be the starting point of her future power. This place will be called Heavenly Evil Valley from now on. Under the Heavenly Tao, I am evil. Luo Qingtong liked the meaning of this name very much. Yes. The crowd nodded in agreement. They had no objections to the name Luo Qingtong came up with. Although the name Luo Qingtong came up with was obviously not righteous, they were not righteous people in the first place. Where is the storehouse? Take me there. Yes. The crowd dispersed. A martial king expert stepped forward and said to Luo Qingtong, Master, this way please. Yes. Luo Qingtong followed him to a storehouse that had been transformed into a cave. These martial king experts were very good at choosing places. Although the entrance of this storehouse looked narrow, it was a stone cave that had almost hollowed out a small mountain. Luo Qingtong walked in and immediately saw a completely different world. Yes. This place is very good. This storehouse was very hidden. Luo Qingtong only needed to casually set up some formations inside and it was enough to make it impossible for anyone to come out. If there was an emergency and it could not be stopped, then she could directly destroy the entire mountain. In this way, unless the opponent was a martial emperor or above, they would not be able to escape from the depths of the mountain when the mountain collapsed. You guys move aside first. Luo Qingtong said to the martial king experts who followed her. These people had already recognized her as their master and there was no need to doubt their loyalty. Luo Qingtong naturally would not deliberately hide the information about the Tianyu imperial treasury from them. On the contrary, a suitable deterrent could give them confidence. Luo Qingtong now needed these people as her right-hand men. She did not want them to become loyal walking corpses. Yes. The crowd obeyed and retreated. Luo Qingtong took out a few useless rings from her bosom and threw 2 to Little Pig. Then, she released the rest. Boom! Almost in the blink of an eye, countless resources and rare treasures suddenly appeared in this storehouse built from a natural karst cave. Heavens! The crowd couldn't help but be blinded by the appearance of Luo Qingtong's eyes. Everyone squinted their eyes as they stared at the treasures in front of them that were emitting countless rays of light. They were so shocked that their jaws dropped. Mistress, this is, even though these martial king experts were strong enough to establish a small country or even become a distinguished guest of an intermediate country, they were still shocked. They had never seen so many treasures and resources. Almost every one of these treasures was of a higher quality than the treasures they had seen before. After all, they were martial king experts. The treasures they used were incomparably powerful. But at this moment, in front of this cave full of treasures, the treasures they owned were completely overshadowed. There were many things inside that even a martial emperor-level expert might not be able to possess. More importantly, they looked at the rings in Luo Qingtong's hands. That was, a Sumeru spatial spiritual artifact? Heavens! The group of people almost couldn't stand still. A martial king expert even supported himself on the wall beside him. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.